Thanks for coming back and joining us again on the Camp Tech Podcast. So happy to have everyone with us. Today we're going to talk about Suno and music and AI and all that good stuff. How to make your own songs, maybe your own hit record. Who knows? Let's get into it.
All right.
Right. Once again, thanks for joining the Camp Tech Podcast. I'm here, I'm Mike Greasy, here with Matt Kaufman, and again, we're going to discuss a little AI music. Kick it right over to Matt. How are you feeling today, Matt?
I'm so excited. This is such a great topic for me. I was the kid in school that never learned an instrument, was never in choir, but always loved music. I have no musical talent, and finally, I have the ability to create music. So I'm so excited to get into this. We're going to talk about Suno today. And Mike, you want to bring up the website, suno.com, one of the greatest AI tools out there.
It is really an incredible AI tool, and as I bring it up here, stick around because later in the pod we're going to have Benny Horowitz from the Gaslight Anthem jumping on, a professional musician who's going to talk about the AI music as well, also a former camp counselor as well. So to bring someone in who's been on the Billboard charts and a professional musician and a former camp counselor is quite a rare instance, so we're very lucky to have him on. He'll be coming on in a little bit. But let's get into Suno. But before we get into Suno, I'm going to start on a different site here. And we're going to start on Claude AI, one of the three different AIs that we do use, whether it be ChatGPT, whether it be Gemini, or whether it be Claude. All three of them are really leading the pack and constantly leapfrogging each other. So today we're going to use Claude. And I pre-typed everything in here to save a little time, but I'm going to read off what we have. And I put in the prompt here, please create a fictitious summer camp. We're going to make up a fictitious summer camp here, including the name of the camp and various activities that campers may enjoy during each camp day, including group names. Using that information, we're going to create lyrics to a song for that camp that we will use to create the camp song. Campers are between the ages of 5 and 15. Please use the best technology available in creating this project. That's always a helpful prompt if you need an extra prompt to be able to get the most out of the AI platform. So we're going to click on here, and as it is thinking here about a camp name and activities and all of that stuff, and for those who have not seen Claude before or any of these specific AI platforms before, this is just as it's creating here. So we're watching it create here, our location, our motto, and it's going to be pulling off really the entire internet here of all different camps. So we have 4 different groups that it's creating here and different activities, as you can see. So as it's creating this, Matt, how important is it to be able to create a camp song using something like this, as we could just watch it just scrolling through here and just creating literally an entire camp we just created here. And now at the bottom here, it's going to create an uplifting camp song for our camp Whispering Pines, which we created. So that's going to create that.
And a little plug for Claude. I've been using Claude a little bit recently, and it's fantastic. I find that it gives you much deeper answers than OpenAI does. That having been said, their usage limits are lower. So even with the buy-up version, you may have to go to their highest plan if you're a heavy user. But as you can see with Claude, it's definitely a deep dive when it gives you an answer. It just came out with a new version. You're using Sonnet 4.5. They came out with Opus 4.5, which might be a little bit better. But going back to your question about music and camp songs, and one of the great things about camp is kids making noise together. There's something special about kids singing together, dancing together, chanting together. So I think music in camp is critical for creating the kind of environment that we're hoping to create for these kids. So it used to be you'd have to commission a song, or more likely you'd have to hire a staff member that had some musical talent, get a song. But This is amazing. So it looks like it's created the lyrics to some kind of song for Camp Whispering Pines.
All right, well, Whispering Pines, what we're going to do is we're going to take it right from the verse, and we're just going to do a simple cut and copy, and we're going to open suno.com/create. It's pretty easy to create your account. The account itself is free to start. It gives you 10 songs to be able to create, I believe, per month. The paid account that we're going to be using here, it costs about $8 to $10 a month for that. So that's what we're going to be using in this instance here. So let's bring up our Suno account here, and just bear with me, I have a second here. There we go. All right, so here's suno.com/create, and you can see here right at the top we have a couple different choices, simple or custom. We're going to do a custom song because we're going to input our own lyrics. So here's a lyric box right here, and we're just going to cut and paste that directly from Claude that created the lyrics, and it's pretty comprehensive lyrics here. All right, so when you put the lyrics in, we'll scroll at the bottom for styles. And what do we want to? What kind of style do we want here, Matt?
I'm not sure. I want to point out that in styles you can't use an artist's name, so you can't say in the style of Taylor Swift or Michael Jackson, for instance. But you want to make this like a camp alma mater. You want to do like a nostalgic alma mater type of song here.
Yeah, let's put nostalgic, campy, happy, joyful, all the things we think of about camp, right? And let's see what it does. We may not need a specific, you could put pop or folk or something like that, but we're going to let it choose itself here, and we're going to hit the create button at the bottom here, and we're going to let it think for a moment, and it's calling it verse 1, but that's fine. So as it's creating and thinking here, which should take about a minute here, let's discuss what we are planning or what camps may use this technology for. Maybe not just learning about music, but how might they implement this to make camp better?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of great use cases, and I don't think we've discovered them all, but whenever we create videos, we create videos, we send them home to the campers and the parents. We can now create custom music that goes along with whatever is in that video. So if we have our color war, we could take the theme of the teams and create a song in the style that fits the energy of the video. It's free to use. This isn't copyrighted, and if it were copyrighted, we would own the copyrights. So that's a really cool use case. I think something else for a lot of camps that aren't maybe as tech-free for the campers as we are, I think you could really run a great music program for the kids using this technology. I think kids would feel so empowered being able to leave a program and having created a song that they could take home with them or that they could download and save for them. And then if you have the right teacher, that teacher can really explain the theory of the music. Why does this sound good? What is happening here with the beats and the melodies and the harmonies and all that type of stuff. So I think this could be absolutely amazing for camps that are willing to go in that direction with their programs.
Yeah, and just from a different perspective, before we play the song here, which looks like it's just about done, and that took about 2 minutes. And so before we play this, something that is, important to understand as well. If you wanted to have a program like this at your camp, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, not $1 million investment, to be able to do what we're about to do here. So there are negatives and positives with this, and we'll get into that with Benny Horowitz from the Gaslight Anthem when he comes on in a few moments here. But let's play the song we have and let's see what we came up with.
Up in the mountains where the tall pines this way. There's a magical place where we laughed and played. From the fireflies dancing to the summit so high. Camp Whispering Pines reaches up to the sky. Whispering Pines, where adventures grow and friendships shine. From dawn till dusk we're having fun, together as one beneath the sun. Oh, Whispering Pines.
We're going to stop it there, just get a little sample of what we just came up with. But,
Mike, what do you think of that one?
I thought for a literally a fairly easy way to do and create a song, again, really within a few minutes, that we created in less than 10 minutes. While explaining it as well, we were able to create that song. I think we're about ready to open up Camp Whispering Pines here up in
I think so too.
Upstate New York.
That song was definitely, it sounded real. It sounded legitimate. It wasn't my cup of tea. So what I like to do in these situations when I don't really love what it came up with is I'll go back into Claude and ask for a better prompt. And you could say to Claude something like, "Hey, I'd really like this song to be more in the style of," we could say like Ben Harper. Mike, I know you know Ben Harper. Since we can't use Ben Harper's name, maybe we can go back into Claude and say, "Hey, could you give us a prompt that would make this sound a little bit more like a Ben Harper song?" And we get a prompt from Claude, put that right back into Suno, and in that way we can iterate and get a better song. And it might take us 4 or 5 iterations to get exactly what we want, but you can't give up on it. The first time you create a song, it's almost never going to be exactly what you want.
Yeah, so, I think the big takeaway here is keep trying, keep playing with this technology, and, there's definitely different ways to do it. I've made hundreds of songs, and I think, we're working on a little camp album here, and I think we're up to 5 or 6 songs now out of the 100 plus we created, just because, they're not perfect, they're not right. You want to make some changes, you want to make some adjustments, but in the end, your product you're going to get versus what you would have gotten 5 years ago doing the same exact thing, trying to create it yourself somehow or with some kind of music generator that's not AI. It was very, very difficult. So definitely something to play with, something to consider. If you have any comments or interests or want to share anything that you created with us, you could definitely hit us up on the email, and we'd love to hear that and get back to you on that one, or leave a comment down below and we can continue the discussion on how to make some great music together. We got an interview with Benny Horowitz coming up right now, so stick around and we'll be right back. All right, so glad to have a special guest with us. We have Benny Horowitz of the Gaslight Anthem coming on, but he's here to discuss the future of music, specifically, and most importantly, Ben, you are a former camp counselor and former bus counselor, maybe with, I think, the longest bus route in the history of camping.
Yeah.
But
5:45
yes,
pickup. Woo!
3-6 a.m. It's been a while. So
it's been a while.
But with all that experience, we really wanted to get you on the show and ask a couple questions, as today we are discussing and kind of going through a tutorial on how to create music with AI for camps and for other institutions, and how easy it is to make. But there's another side of these things, and
sure.
So an important side to understand and discuss for those who are just using this as a toy. So we're going to get right into it. And so as someone like you who spent years crafting songs and creating things musically, when you hear AI generating a song, sometimes based on a single text prompt,
sure.
Is that like a wow, this is amazing? Or is this like a wait, this is concerning moment for you?
I mean, I think yes and yes. With all this kind of stuff, there is normally an introduction, an overuse, recorrection, and then something that falls back into normal. I have a feeling we're still in the trajectory towards overuse. And I don't think it's hit its zenith by long shot yet. I mean, the thing, even bringing up what you brought up with, let's put together a podcast and let's have some intro music for the podcast, right? Like it or not, I don't know if this was good for society or good. Somebody used to get paid to do that. There was a professional music writer who could play all the instruments, put them together, and write you a jingle and take some money for it. And somebody probably fed themselves this way and was part of some kind of union in order to do so. So there is like just the automatic, okay, this is the person getting taken out. But you can use that for any industry right now, right? That's just getting eaten up by tech. Then there's the other side to it, which is the beautiful entryway into music for all these people. You know what I mean? Like, the gate is much larger than it used to be. There used to be kind of a thin group of people who could have access to the things that would make it necessary to do this, and now it's available to everyone, which is kind of cool. I like the fact that a kid can go on their laptop, press a couple buttons, use their own creativity, and put something out into the world without any middleman, without a label. There is like a beautiful punk rock kind of democratic side to this too, if you allow it to just be wide open. So in that large answer to your question, I think that there's like a lot going on and a lot to consider, and I don't know if we've reached the point of when it's going to be used in a way that really helps art and helps people and isn't just playing with the potential, which is, I think, where we're at right now.
Benny, it feels a little bit like back when I was in college, and probably you guys were in college too. There was a service called Napster where you could download any song you ever wanted and really cut the musicians out of the financial benefit. It seems a little bit like we're in that era right now, and eventually there'll be some kind of correction so that everyone is financially benefiting. So I think that's going to take a little bit of time, but I think that's on its way.
I'm glad you brought that up, because there has been a correction from the industry business side of the industry. So, I mean, one of my biggest things that you see now is you go onto Spotify and you think you're getting a random collection of songs, right? That's turning you on to something. Like, sorry to pull the veil back, but after Napster and after the advent of digital music, these labels didn't die. They recreated themselves to keep making money. So actually bands got cut out of the mechanical side to selling music. Bands got cut out of CDs, LPs, like all these hard sale things that you used to just get a cut of. And you know where all these labels put their money? Spotify, Apple Music, Vivo, like they're inside of all of these companies. So when you're getting your curated playlist, you are getting chosen songs from a company. So where you think you're getting anonymity and you think you're getting turned on to new music, you're really essentially getting your hand held down the aisle, like at a mall, and being told what to consume. And there's a lot of people, if you don't, as usual, you start funneling everything towards that thing. Anybody who wants to play independently, doesn't want to play ball, gets lost for any variety of reasons, people have zero access to. So that, I think, AI is not just this thing that's just appearing everywhere. Someone is creating it and someone's programming it, and we got to still remember like who's doing that. I think that's an important part of it to remember.
Yeah, and getting back into the focus of camp in our community.
Sure.
Not to shift gears too hard, Ben.
No, we went full Taylor
camp,
Swift here. Yeah.
putting back your camp hat. If you had the privilege of working again at camp, and you wanted to incorporate a music program within camp, maybe using AI, maybe not, maybe using a combination of things.
Yeah.
If you had the unlimited financials to be able to create that, just off the top of your head, what might that look like for you?
I think it's got to be a mix, and I think that's probably the most positive way to look at this, is what are the ways that AI can make creation and that kind of expression easier and more available? That stuff is important to think about and something that camp could really use. I mean, if you want to take the old school method of learning how to play a guitar, getting all the things to make that guitar make electrical noises, get the things to record that guitar, and then edit that guitar. I mean, you're talking about literally like millions of dollars of equipment and decades of people's experience and all this. And so it was unavailable to a second grader, unavailable to a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old who might have an interest in music and doesn't know. So in that way, I think it can be a truly beautiful thing. And I think that's where camps or anybody going with education can clearly mix analog and acoustic instruments. Have these kids do a drum circle for a while, learn about rhythm, but then shove them in front of a laptop and get them to do some programming, because that also is the future, and you don't want to be John Henry. You don't want to be old man yelling at cloud. There's going to be positives to this music, and I do think that is a big upside and something a camp or education could use, is like it makes the entry point into the thing just vastly easier.
Well said, really well said, and something to just continue to look forward to as this entire field evolves. Again, Benny, thank you so much for coming on. Any final thoughts before we part here?
Yeah, I love summer camp. I think it's one of the greatest places for adults and kids, and I can't wait to get back. Greenie, it's always good to see you. I'd like to commend you on always doing new things and being having a strong sense of what to do in this world. You're a good man. I'll always come on for you, Mike Greenstein.
Thank you, Benny. Much appreciated. Are we going to see the Gaslight Anthem on tour in 2026?
Yeah, I plead the fifth. Yeah.
Well, man, listen.
If there's another lesson these campers can have, you don't stay a drummer in the music business for 30 years by running your mouth too much. Another little tip for you burgeoning drummers out there.
Very well said. Again, thank you so much for coming on. And if you haven't checked out the Gaslight Anthem, definitely check them out. And maybe there'll be an opening. The door's always open around McCoy for you, Ben. So anytime you want to come down, we are here for you. Right?
All right.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Benny.
No worries.
All right, so some final thoughts on AI and music at Suno. I'll start, and a big part of what we talked about is democratization, and I think AI, a lot what we talk about is kind of evening the playing field in a lot of ways. While we're taking away a lifelong skill that someone might have, that same person is still able to create music and be able to now share that music maybe easier. If we wanted to create a song at camp, at a regular day camp or resident camp, we would create a song. It could take the entire summer to be able to express those ideas, and cost a lot of money to do that. So these people everyone, and the campers get to experience music creation in a way that they may have never been able to experience, or may never be able to experience again. And that's kind of the magic of camp. In my eyes, yes, there are some negatives here, but I think the positives, especially with music creation and how music lasts forever. Think of those of us who were in camp many years ago, and the songs and chants and cheers that we remember 20, 30, 40 or more years later.
And I think my big takeaway is that it's all about how we use these tools. I think everyone is so concerned about tools taking people's jobs, and there is valid concern about that. But when you look at something like Suno, Suno can't make any decisions for you about how you're going to use it. So you still have to make the decision of what kind of song you want, where you're going to play it, when you're going to play it, who's going to listen to it. So it doesn't take any of the really important decision making out of the loop. And I think that's my big takeaway about these AI tools. Yes, they can do a lot of things for us, but ultimately they are not us, and they are not human, and we do have to make those decisions ourselves. So I think that's a great way to end it. So for Mike Greenstein, I'm Matt Kaufman, and just reminding you to keep trying new things, and we'll see you next time on the Camp Tech Podcast.
See you next time, guys.
Tech by our side, helping lighten the load, keeping us organized on this wild camp road. But camp magic comes from voices, from hands and from hearts, from all those messy, joyful, totally human parts. We innovate smartly, but people stay key. The camp world runs on love, not just efficiency. Tech helps us grow, but it's never the core, because humans make the memories campers treasure forevermore.